Welcome if you're new here, welcome back if you're not. My name is Kenzie, this is my book channel, and I know this week was supposed to be Shatter Me Part 2, but I haven't finished filming that yet. So instead we're doing a summer TBR video, all the books I want to read this summer. And hopefully I can get to all of them. If not, it's not a big deal. We'll just wait. So yeah, let's get started with that. And then the Shatter Me Part 2 will be next week. So, alright, first we're going to start off with my June TBR because obviously, and that is going to start off with The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. First off, look how pretty this is. Second off, if you don't know what this book is about, so this girl, Avery, right? Yes. So this girl, Avery, she's just a normal teenager, you know, living her life, trying to survive high school, win a scholarship, and, you know, get out of where she lives. But then this billionaire, Tobias Hawthorne, he dies. He passes away and leaves her his entire inheritance. However, in order for her to get it, she has to solve a bunch of games and puzzles, and you don't know why he left it to her, of all people. But it's just super interesting. And I'm definitely excited to read this one. Next is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This one, I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about. If I don't know much about them or if I need a little refresh, I'm reading the back. Okay, so this book and book series, like, everyone has a different blood type, and, like, the different colors mean different things. So, okay, so there are reds and silver. If you have red blood, then you are lowly, you're, you know, lower class and everything. But if you're silver, you're elite, you're supernatural, and all of that. Here's the thing, is the main character of this book, apparently has abilities that she didn't know she had, except for the fact that her blood is red. So how does she have these abilities if she has the wrong blood type? So that is one that I'm very excited to read. Honestly, out of my entire June/summer TBR, I think these three are my top most anticipated reads, honestly. So based off of that, next is Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is the sequel to Better Than the Movies, which, if you don't know what Better Than the Movies is about, Elizabeth and Wes, they're neighbors, they're enemies, frenemies, really. Her childhood crush moves back into town. She recruits Wes to help her, like, try and get her crush to notice her. He was like, all right, fine. They fall in love with each other and everything, which, sorry if that was a spoiler. But, I mean, come on, it's a rom-com book. You're gonna know it's kind of predictable, so I'm sorry. But anyway, Nothing Like the Movies. They're still together, they're in college, and then from what I know, something happens to where they break up, I guess. I don't know, but I've also heard that even people who absolutely love Better Than the Movies didn't care for this one that much, and I'm like, I wonder why. But I'm still really excited to read this one, obviously. And this one's actually really fun because this one is dual POV. Meanwhile, Better Than the Movies was just Liz's POV, so that's exciting. Alright, next is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. Again, not one I know a whole lot about, but I've heard a whole lot of good things about it. Excuse me, sorry. And I was, like, at this really small bookstore with some friends and I didn't have any money. And one of my friends was like, do you want a book? And I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't have any money. And she goes, do you want a book? And I was like, you're not buying me a book. And she goes, yes, I am. Either you choose one or I choose one for you. And I happened to see this one. I was like, fine, I'll get this one. And it was only like $9. And I had $5 on me. So I gave that to her. But yeah, I don't know. I think based off of the picture, I'm going to guess it's about an old man. I don't know. I've heard so many good things about this author, about this book. I've also heard really good things about his series Beartown. I think it's a trilogy. It's fine, you already saw him. Anyway, I think it's a trilogy or a duology. I don't really remember, but I've heard really good things about this author. So, if I like this one, I'll probably read Beartown. I don't know. I own it as an ebook, so. But I feel like that one's a little bit more wintry because I've only ever heard people talk about reading it in the winter, so. Alright. Next, and this is one that I have literally just to finish off reading a series that is very, very much so YA, and definitely a book I would have preferred when I was much younger, not so much now, but I do want to finish it. I do want to see what happens. I will say every book leaves off on a cliffhanger, like, or at least the first two did. They leave off on a cliffhanger, so I'm just wondering what happens. And that is Unmade by Sarah Reese Brennan. This is the third and final book in the Lindburn legacy. The other books are Unspoken and Untold. And I'm not gonna lie, they were very difficult for me personally to read. Just because, like I said, they are extremely, extremely YA. They are also... There are a lot of times where the, like, wording makes no sense. There have been a couple times where I've caught mistakes, like, it'll be talking about one character and then I'll switch over to another and you're like, what are you saying? So unfortunately that is a thing I don't care for about these books, but the magic in here is super unique to me because I haven't read a whole lot of books with this type of magic. The love triangle is a little but you never truly know who's good and who's evil in these books. I will say that. I do love that about these books. So that is my June TBR. For the rest of my summer TBR, so one, which I have no idea where it's at right now, is King of Sloth by Anna Huang. I'm about 13 chapters in right now. I'm enjoying it, but I need to finish it. So, and I will say, out of her Kings of Sins books, that one is my least anticipated one, just because in the first three books, Sloane was never my favorite character, and she's the main character of King of Sloth. Her and, I've heard it pronounced Xavier, but I've also heard it pronounced Javier. I'm pretty sure it's Xavier. Because if it was Javier, it would be spelled with a J, not an X. So, I don't know. Anyway, so there's that one, which is, I'm hoping I'm wrong on this, but I'm guessing that's going to be my lowest rated of the Kings of Sin books. Next is going to be King of Envy. This one is a chonker. Like, she made this one big and thick. Same with King of Sloth, actually. Like, both of those books are huge. But this one is about Vuk and Ayana, I think. And it's a marriage of convenience trope, but Vuk doesn't know that. Vuk doesn't know that Ayana, like, her marriage is of convenience and not actually of love. So he's like, I'ma steal your girl. So, this is another one I've been so excited for. Also, it's so beautiful. This might be my favorite cover of all of them. Well, this is King of Wrath, actually. So, that is a very big one that I want to get to. Another Lynn Painter book I want to... What in the world happened to the pages? there have been. Anyway, another one I want to get to this summer is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This one, so it's like childhood friends to, or enemies to lovers, I think is what it is. I don't know. She seems to like to go for the enemies / strangers to lovers trope, and honestly, I'm not hating it. But look at how stinking cute this book is. Like, Lynn Painter eats with her covers. I'm just gonna say that. Like, it's so stinking cute. And I was gonna read this a few months ago, but I was just like getting kind of burnt out on the YA romances, so I was like, alright, fine, I'll put this down. And then that's how I started the Kings of Sin series and fell in love with them. So that is another really big one I want to get to this summer. I want to read a whole lot of romances this summer, I'm saying. Next is, I'm struggling, The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This one, I've actually read the first like page and then I put it down for some reason. I don't know. I guess I just wasn't in the mood to read it then. But this one, so this girl, Clementine, I can't remember her name, okay? Her aunt passes away, and so her aunt leaves her apartment to Clementine, and so Clementine's like, alright, fine, I'll move in. She moves in. There's this guy in her apartment, but the twist, I think my cat's trying to get in my room. Anyway, the twist is the man is from 7 years into the past, I believe. So like from the past. And she's like, huh? What the heck is happening? So it's romance, it's magical realism, which I did not know what that was until I started watching booktubers and they talk about this book specifically and talking about magical realism. So apparently it just means that there's magical elements, but there's also realism in there. That totally makes sense. Anyway. Alright, and then I also want to go ahead and finish off the Maple Hill series. I want to read Wildfire and Daydream Wildfire. So these two, they like hook up for a little one night stand. Before he wakes up, she dips. She's like, I'm out of here. And she's like, okay, I'm never gonna have to see him again, or it's at least gonna be a while before I have to see him. There's a bookmark in here apparently. Anyway, so she's like, if nothing else, there's gonna be a little bit before, sorry, I heard something buzzing, I think it was my phone. Anyway, it's gonna be a little bit before I have to see him again, like it's not a big deal. And then she goes to be a camp counselor at the summer camp. Guess who else works at the summer camp? Him. So that's gonna be a fun little awkwardness. And then Daydream, also by Hannah Grace, also in the Maple Hill series. If you saw my 24-hour readathon, I read Icebreaker, and that was not okay. Like, it definitely isn't the worst book I've ever read in my entire life, but it was not, I knew the cringy moments were gonna happen. I will say that. Like, I had warning. But anyway, Daydream, I've heard this is the least spicy of the books, which I've learned that when it comes to spice, it's lustful spice I don't like. Like, when it's done out of love, like in the Kings of Sin series, at least for a lot of them, it doesn't bother me that bad, but then when it's done purely out of lust, like in Icebreaker, or at least in the beginning of Icebreaker, it grosses me out. So, but anyway, this says the least amount of spice. I believe what it is she has to tutor him to make sure his grades are up so he doesn't get kicked off the hockey team. So, and I believe these are all interconnected standalone books, so you can read them all by themselves, but you're going to see other characters from the other books pop in every now and then. So, let me just put those up there. Alright, next is the Natural series, and I mean the entire series, or the very least the first two, I would say, which is The Naturals and Killer Instinct. These are the first two in this series, If you don't know what The Naturals is about, the FBI recruits a bunch of teenagers to help them solve a bunch of cold cases, but each of the teenagers has a special gift. Like, one's really good at math, one's really good at problem solving, this, that, and something else. So there's also apparently like a love triangle somewhere in there, so but yeah, I'm very excited to read all of these books at some point, or at the very least start off with these two and then get to the other two at some point. The other two being All In and Bad Blood. And then at the back of this one, there's actually a little novella called 12, I believe. Yes. So I don't think I would finish this one this summer, but I definitely think I can at least read the first two and maybe like half of this one. But I would probably get bored by then, or at least need a little bit of a change, so. Okay, anyway, what's next? Oh, these ones. Okay, next, and I have no idea what the heck happened to this corner. Anyway, is The Last Days of Holly Hayes. This one is about a girl. She's dating this guy. Holly is the girl's name, and then Dylan, I believe, is the guy's. Yes. Dylan's parents are doomsday preppers. She doesn't know this until they go on a little trip, and then there's a mention of the end of the world. And he's like, oh no, like I need to protect my girlfriend, I need to get her safe. And so that is just the entire thing. Like, he's like, how do I keep this from her or tell her without her freaking out and thinking I'm crazy, and also protect her right now during the end of the world. So, but another really cool thing about this book is that you can read the different POVs at different times and it'll still make sense. And like, there's even a guide in here telling you the different ways you can read it. So it's just a really cool book all around. Next is Caraval. I'm sure we all know what this book is about, but if you don't, these two girls, they're sisters. They have to go to Caraval, save the world, I guess. Apparently, I don't even know what it's about. But again, another stunning cover. But it's also just a really fun, very like YA, not lighthearted. I've never heard anyone call this lighthearted. But it seems to just be a really fun time, I've heard a lot of people say. And again, I don't know much about it. This was supposed to be on my April TBR. I didn't get to it. I really need to, though, because one of my friends said that if I read it and I love it, then she'll read it. So, gotta love when your friends make you the guinea pig. Anyway, and lastly, we have Nightbane by Alex Astor. Again, if you saw my 24-hour readathon, I read Lightlark, which is the first book to the series. And Lightlark is about this island that shows up every 100 years. It only shows up for 100 days. The 6 different rulers of the 6 different kingdoms have to survive, and if they win, they break the curse, and only one can win. And then that one, I believe, left off on a cliffhanger. I don't remember. I was sleep deprived and delirious when I read it, and this one is just the sequel. And again, stunning cover. There's a little, I think it's supposed to be a skull on the side. But yeah, I'm very excited to read all of these books. Hopefully this summer. If not, then it can wait. I'm not going to try and rush myself, because anytime I rush myself, I end up not enjoying my books that much. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!